I got something exciting for you today. I'm gonna show you how to make Keith Lorren's Akee Saltfish, Jamaican style, the way my grandma used to make. These are our ingredients. Alright, so now it's time to make our Akee Saltfish. Now listen, my grandmother cooked her Akee Saltfish with bacon, and it was the best ackee in the world. I know y'all are gonna hate, oh, you don't put pork in ackee. Yes, you do. If you want it to be great, you want it to taste like the Keith Lorren version, you put a little bit of bacon in there. So I have about 6 strips of smoked bacon. I have 1/2 of red bell pepper, 1/2 of green bell pepper. I have 4 stalks of scallions, and I separated the tops and cut them off. I have 2 tomatoes, 1 whole onion, 1 whole Scotch bonnet pepper, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 lime, and also fresh thyme. Now for aromatics, we're going to use about 1½ teaspoons of whole thyme. We're going to use some black pepper, as much as you like, freshly ground, and then we're going to use the Keith Lorren all-purpose seasoning. Listen, you want the best soul food flavor? You want the best Jamaican flavor? You got to use the best spices. Go to Stop and Shop stores or go online right now and get yourself a collection of Keith Lorren spices. You got to do it. And if you don't have access to great Scotch bonnet peppers, you go get yourself some Keith Lorren Scotch bonnet sauce. It's the best. It's the authentic flavor of the pepper. I grow these peppers myself, and my strand came straight from Jamaica. I don't play no games when it comes to this flavor. Keith Lorren Scotch bonnet pepper and Keith Lorren all-purpose seasoning. You got to go out and get it. All right, so let's get started on the cooking. Now, this is how saltfish comes. I have 1 pound of saltfish here. I washed it like 4 times and soaked it overnight, and then changed the water twice. You know, you gotta keep rinsing that salt water off, and as you can see, it's a nice pliable texture now. But even so, even though I washed it good with all of that salt content, I'm still going to boil it, you know, to get the remaining of that salt off. So let me show you how to get started with that. I have my 1 pound of saltfish here. I'm adding it into our boiling water, and I'm going to cook this until it flakes. To get started on our Akee Saltfish, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of oil to our pan, and then we're going to add our 6 strips of bacon. Alright, so I made the bacon nice and crispy. Now it's time to take it out and put it onto a napkin. And this is going to be the garnish for our Akee Saltfish. After all, Akee Saltfish is a breakfast meal, in my humble opinion. You can't have a breakfast without bacon. Breakfast didn't exist before bacon. So that's why we're frying up bacon in here. So now that I got a good 99% of this bacon out and onto our napkin to drain, you see that it's nice and crispy. I'm gonna let it drain, and now it's time to start sauteing our vegetables. So now I'm adding our scallions in here. Our Scotch bonnet and our garlic, all in here. And we gotta stir it and saute it to bring the flavor out. To this, I'm also gonna add our 1 teaspoon of allspice. I'm going to add a little bit of fresh thyme, and I'm going to add a little bit of Keith Lorren's all-purpose seasoning. I'm just sprinkling it lightly. So now we just have to saute this, and we want to evaporate as much liquid out of here as possible. Great food, use Keith Lorren spices. So I'm going to let this saute, and I'm going to let the liquids evaporate. To this, I'm also now going to add our bell pepper, our green and red bell pepper, and I'm going to turn our temperature higher so that we can get some quick sear action going on here. See, as you can see, it's beautiful, it's nice and colorful. Oh, great. Now, as you know, with my cooking, every layer of this has to be seasoned. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper so the black pepper can toast up nicely and help flavor the fish. So I want to get all of this sauteed nicely, and I want the flavor to come out. You got to get as much liquid out of here as you can. All right, you see how beautiful that looks? It's gorgeous. You see that? That's what it should look like. what we're gonna do is we're gonna take half of this out. And we're gonna put it in our plate to add while the fish is sauteing. Look at that caramelization on there. I invented cooking. So I'm gonna take half of this out. And now I'm gonna add our tomatoes. And it's the same premise. I'm adding our tomatoes. And it's the same premise. We wanna get as much liquid out of here as we can. We want to evaporate that out. This is our fish, and we want to cook it until it's nice and flaky. You see how flaked that is? That's what we want. So now I'm going to turn this off. This fish has been cooking for about, I don't want to say 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Let me check on that. See, it's flaking up perfectly. So I'm taking our fish out, putting it into a bowl. What you want to do is you just want to taste a little piece. Make sure it's not overly salty, and this is perfect. I did it just right. I want to get all of this out of here. Alright, so now that that's done, we can add it directly to our pan here. And we're going to take our wooden spoon and we're going to break up the fish. See that? We want to break this fish up. At this point, I'm going to add 1/2 stick of butter. Ackee saltfish has to have a really nice oil content, otherwise it's not good. So I added 1/2 stick of butter in here. I'm going to add the remaining seasoned onions that we added earlier. I'm just going to toss it all together and let it cook. And then the last secret ingredient I'm adding is just a little squeeze of ketchup. I'm going to do about a tablespoon of ketchup. And to that, I'm just going to add a little splash of water, just a splash. And I'm just going to stir it all up. This is very important when making ackee and saltfish. You see how that oil is separating from the dish? Get in there close, Mr. Wayman, so you can see it. You see how that's happening? The oil is separating from the ackee and from the dish. That's very important. Now I just want to do a quick taste test just to make sure it's right. Gotta be right. It is amazing. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another splash of Lorren's all-purpose seasoning, just a little light splash, because you always have to season in layers. A light splash of that. I'm going to add a dash of fresh thyme towards the end, and I'm going to just add 1 drop of Lorren's Scotch bonnet hot sauce, just to pick up the flavor. Just a drop. What I'm going to do now is put the top. I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to put the top on it so it can continue to steam and that oil can continue to separate. So I bought myself a can of ackees here. Usually I use fresh, but I couldn't find them. I'm going to make sure to drain these ackees, and this is how it looks like. Now this ackee is very, very tender. You see that? It's very, very tender. So you want to add this at the very end. So what I'm going to do, this has been steaming. I'm going to take this. I want to make sure it has enough of that good oil. I'm just going to add a little drizzle of olive oil on top of here, just a little drizzle, right? And I'm going to put our ackees on top of that. Now I've drained these ackees. Now some people like to mash it all up. I like to see my ackee, so I'm not mashing nothing up. See that? Now I'm going to let this steam for about 3 to 4 minutes. And I'll show you the next step after that. Alright, so this has been steaming in here. You can see that the oil has separated in here. Get in here close so you can see it. You see the oil has separated from the ackee and from the vegetables and the saltfish that's in here. And I'm just going to toss it just a little bit, you know. And this is how we're going to finish the dish. We're going to take that crispy bacon that we made, And we're just gonna sprinkle that crispy bacon right on the top there. Look how good that looks. And then we're gonna take some of these fresh green scallions that we made, fresh ones now, and we're gonna just ladle this all over the top. Give the pan a swirl. And now it's ready to serve. Now, along with the ackee and saltfish, you have to have the right components. So I'm gonna show you how to make a boiled green banana. It's very nutritious, and I'm so excited because my neighbor gave me these bananas. They're organic, and they're small. So it's perfect. So I'm just gonna peel a few of these off. This should be enough for me and my friends and my neighbors. And I'm going to cut off the ends. I'm gonna make a slit along the side. I'm not cutting too deep, but this is so we can peel it later. So we're gonna cut off the ends. I'm just gonna make a slit around. In order for our bananas not to turn black, you have to add oil. We add a little bit of oil to the water. We add a little bit of salt to the water, just so it can have flavor. We squeeze the juice of a lime in there. There we go. And now we can add our green bananas. Now these are gonna cook up just like potatoes do. It's gonna be another starch for you, like a potato. So we're just gonna boil this, and it's gonna take about 10 minutes for it to get soft. All right, in addition to the boiled green banana, you gotta have some boiled dumplings. You gotta have it, it's perfect. And I'm gonna show you how to do it. So we're gonna start off with about 1 cup of flour. This is all-purpose flour, okay? We're gonna use 1 cup, because we ain't making that many, because I'm on a diet. We're gonna add a little bit of salt. There's a little sprinkle of salt. We're gonna add a little sprinkle of Akee Lorren's chicken bouillon for umami and flavor. Just a little bit of that. We're also gonna add just a little pinch of white sugar just to balance the taste. Very important. So we're gonna mix this up. I'm gonna add a splash of Akee Lorren's all-purpose seasoning. Look at all those herbs. Mix it up. And then just a little bit of water just to bring it all together. We want a nice stiff dumpling. Now it's time to knead it with our hand just to get the right texture. You know, this is the old-fashioned way, but hey, old-fashioned sometimes works best. So I'm just gonna keep mixing this with my hand until I get the right texture. And there, that looks like it's it right now. That's it right there. That's it right there. So I'm dumping this in the same water that we boiled our green plantains in. And I'm gonna cook this for about 10 minutes. And it'll be perfect. So this is our boiled bananas. As you can tell, they came out perfectly. They're nice and soft. They cook up just like a nice starchy potato. That's what I could liken it to, or boiled yuca. So I'm gonna take out 3 of them. And it's really easy to peel them. You just slide the skin off. That's it. It's pretty hot, but just slide the skin off. There we go. I'll just put them into our dish. Now I just want to put a little bit of this liquid on top just to keep it moist while we wait. And that's how you do it. It's really easy to peel them. Well, folks, it's been good, it's been great, but it's getting kind of late, and it's time for me to make my plate. And look at this plate. Akee Lorren's ackee and saltfish. Look at those decadent oils. Look at that ackee. Look at that crispy bacon, the scallions, and all those seasonings. Listen, it doesn't get any better than that. Y'all better call the police, because somebody about to get slapped after making this dish. I promise you it's delicious. I dedicate this recipe to Mrs. Denise T. One of my good Facebook friends. She's been following me for years, and she said, Keith, can you please make an ackee and saltfish recipe? This is just for you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you go to Stop and Shop grocery stores to pick up your Akee Lorren spices, and you can visit us online at KeithLorren.com, Amazon.com, and New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, and Florida. Those are the stores that we're in. Thanks for watching. See you next week.